Denver Nuggets in town. The Knicks are on a roll, y'all. No big deal. They are 5 straight wins in. They do this one 122-112. Jalen Brunson with 30, 15 assists. OG Anunoby with 23 points. 408 points over their last 3 games, which is their most in a 3-game span in franchise history. They seem to be very healthy, Lou. Let's talk about the offense and where it ranks in the league. Best?
I wouldn't give them the best. I think they're in a great run right now. They're finding a lot of scoring in a lot of different places. Like you just said, OG Anunoby gave them 23 points last night. Cat struggled somewhat from the field, but you got Brunson. This is a New York Knicks team. You know, they're top heavy. They're going to get a lot of production out of their starting 5. Now, my concerns are when they go to the bench. What are you going to be able to get out of the bench? And so for me, I still feel like the Cleveland Cavaliers are the best offensive team in the league. Even though the Knicks are top 5 in a lot of offensive categories, I still like the Cleveland Cavaliers. Cavaliers went out and got 50 from their bench last night. I think that's what's going to separate them from the New York Knicks as far as offensive efficiency goes. When the Knicks go to their bench, are they going to be able to compete with these other teams? So love the run that they're in. Love what they've been able to do over the past 3 games, putting up 432. That's a great stat to have, but I wouldn't put them at the top of the mountain. But they're playing really good basketball right now.
Yeah, Danny, is it the bench thing? Is that what gives you pause about the Knicks?
No. I mean, we can't forget about the other team in the Northeast over in Boston. They're a very good offensive, explosive team. But the concern for me with the Knicks is their 3-point percentage. And since the new year, they're outside of the top. They don't take or make enough threes. They're just very inconsistent for that. It's hard to be the most explosive offense when you're not making threes like that. As of late, they found some rhythm and they do well. Obviously, the lack of depth, I'm with Lou on that. But most importantly for me, in today's game, you got to make threes. You got to take enough of them. You got to make enough of them. And they don't do that at a high enough clip to be, one of the better offenses. So for them to be very effective or be in contention, they got to make sure defensively every night they're locked in because they do. I mean, they have threats. They're very top heavy, but there's going to be nights where they're not going to shoot well, which is most likely because their identity is not from 3-point line. They're going to have to play good defense to give themselves a chance. And that Boston team in the Northeast, we've seen them when they play and they're healthy and they're playing their normal basketball. They're probably the most explosive offensive team we've seen in the league this year.
I think that they're two. Yeah, I think their 2 identities are like that, Danny. Like you just said, they don't make or take enough threes, but they're so efficient in the paint, so efficient inside of the 3-point line. It's almost like a blast from the past, right? Like now teams are playing outside in. New York Knicks are still playing bully ball. They still play in the line. But like Danny just mentioned, for you to compete and to survive in the climate of the NBA today, you got to make and you got to take a lot of 3-point shots to be able to compete. But I like how efficient they are inside the line.
This 3-point thing's funny because we bitch and whine when there are too many threes taken and it's not fun to watch. But then if you don't take enough, we're just like, well, you're not going to get it done. Doesn't change the fact that the games that they've won on this spread, 2 of them are against number 3 and number 4 teams out west, which is pretty notable. And I get it. They're a game behind the Celtics. They're in the 3rd spot in the East. Cavs still sitting on top. Should we take them a little more seriously, though, as a contender, Danny? Why don't we do that?
I mean, I don't think anybody doesn't take them unserious, but 3 or 4 in the West are good teams, but they're not contending teams to me. There's not many contending teams, even though the West is strong. They're good teams, but they're not contending teams. So, the Knicks just more than likely, I think most people in their minds anyway look at them as a really good team, just top heavy, like Lou said. And the biggest concern is the minutes. If everybody's waiting for that other shoe to drop. You know what I'm saying? So somebody thinks somebody's going to get injured at some point. We're still waiting on Mitchell Robinson to come back, or I don't know if he is back or coming to get back soon, but
I think he's coming back soon.
I heard he was jumping and stuff, guys. Jumping and stuff.
Yeah.
As he should be. I mean, hopefully we're halfway through the season. But they have played, I don't know if you have seen that stat where the top 7 3-man lineups are the Knicks. They play a lot of minutes. So a lot of people are waiting to see if one of these guys is going to get run down, if an injury is going to happen. And that's what happened to them last year. It's like, they had a great run, they had a great season. And when it came to Indiana, which they should have been in the Eastern Conference Finals, they had a bunch of injuries. I hope that doesn't happen. None of us want to see that happen. But because they play so many minutes in bulk in the top heavy load of their team, everybody's just waiting for something to happen. Like, we like the Knicks, but we're not sure if they're going to be healthy at the right time.
Such a marathon, Lou. It's such a marathon. I think that is the concern is watching it all play out last year, and there were such good vibes out here in New York, and then for it to all sort of fizzle with the injuries. But there's nothing you can do about that, right? Like Tibbs is going to do what Tibbs does.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, like Danny just said, I don't see anybody not taking them serious, right? Like I think they're a title contending team. They got a lot of different pieces that can give them great production. Now, the only caveat to that is their bench scoring and their bench play. What are you going to be able to get out of the bench? Now, the thing that works in the New York Knicks' favor is once there's playoff basketball, those lineups shorten anyway. But before you get to that, are these guys going to be burnt out? You know, like just mentioned, you got 3 guys in the top 3 that's in minutes played. How is that going to affect you in the long run of this season? Are these guys going to be burnt out? Are you going to start dealing with the knick-knack injuries because of the wear and tear? Is that going to put you in a handicap position going into the playoffs? If they can get there healthy in one piece, this team is for sure going to be a title contender.
So let's get down to the Jokic of it all. Obviously, you play Denver. That's what we want to talk about as well. 17.6 rebounds, 6 assists, and he was in some foul trouble already in the first quarter. Well, Draymond Green was watching, and he had his social media right there at his fingertips, and here he is. In a full front on Joker, even if you win the game, which they did, it doesn't matter. You will never hold the respect from an opponent to win at the highest level. Pride must make you sit down and guard, even if you give up 40. Winning is a mindset, and in order to win a championship, man, he is not afraid to just have an opinion on everything, Lou. What do you think about that tweet?
You know what? Listen, from his point of view, from his perspective, I understand what he's saying. He's a defensive-minded guy. He goes out there and he plays with a lot of pride and a lot of passion. He takes a lot of these matchups personally, you know, so individually he want to go out there and to be able to conquer that. Cat was out there just trying to do a job, trying to slow some. Listen, if a guy's out there and you see him going to get 30, 20, and 18 on a few nights out of the week and he's coming your way, you're going to do everything you can to stop him or minimize him. And it worked. It worked. Like, this is a bad case right here, Dre, because it worked. Yeah. Now, again, this is a matchup we're only going to see twice a year. Cat wins one of them with this. So is this something that we want to see a steady diet of? Absolutely not. But I'll raise this question to Draymond. What's the difference between this and guys fronting Steph Curry, not allowing Steph Curry to get the basketball?
Denying him, yeah.
Denying him, face guarding him. There is no difference. When you're trying to win a matchup, the pride is out the window. When you're trying to win a matchup, pride is out the window. Now, I understand what you're saying because you take pride in what you do on the defensive end. But, hey, for 2 nights out of the year, and I'm trying to stop a guy that's on an absolute tear right now that's putting up these crazy gaudy numbers, I'm not adding my name to that list. So I'm with you, Draymond, but Cat shouldn't have no shame in how his night went at all.
Yeah, I'm with you. This is we hear what Draymond's trying to say, and we understand as from a competition standpoint to compete and from taking on the challenge, we want to see guys take that one-on-one. I'm sure this wasn't Cat's idea. This might have been Tibbs' idea, and you know Tibbs is a coach for a good reason. This guy is not no regular player. He is the LeBron of big men, going for one of his 4th MVP, right? He's very good. And it's kind of contradictory in the tweet where it's like, if you want to win championships, you got to do this. But they won the game. You know what I'm saying? Like, he did what he was supposed to do, and they won. This helped him win the game. So ultimately, this formula sounds like it would help him win a championship. So, but you give a lot of, respect to Cat. I mean, I guess putting his pride aside and doing this because most other players would take on the challenge. I'm sure Tibbs was like, look, we're going to front him. We're going to throw different things at him. We're going to double him. But it said it did work, and said we understand where Draymond's coming from. I want to say you never get respect, but respect it more when you take on that one-on-one challenge and fight a guy. But either way, they got the job done. Cat got it done, and I'm sure they'll use other teams may use this going forward.
Danny, but we've seen what it looks like when guys put their pride, when they use their pride and they guard them, they get torched.
You get 30, 20, and 16,
yeah. We've seen guys play with pride, and we see the guy that says, you know what, I'm going to put my pride to the side, and he came away with a win and held Jokic to 17, 6, and 6. I mean, I feel you, Dre, but Cat wins the battle. Now, who wins the war, we don't know, but Cat wins the battle.
Yeah, this feels like a by any means necessary strategy, which ultimately the goal is to win. Yeah, I'm with you. I don't have a problem with it. If you don't
for a
love
normal
it,
person,
fine.
this is a decent game for a normal person, but for Jokic, this is helping Shea MVP case. So I'm sure other teams are gonna be doing
That's
this.
why I
But
lose. That's why I lose
the
smiling.
LeBron of big men right now, and people don't admit that he's on an unbelievable tear, and he's on his way to his fourth MVP if he keeps going, and he could end up with 5 for all we know because he's not old.
No, he's not.
And Dre, and guess what, Draymond? Be prepared to see more of it from more teams because everybody's watching, they're scouting, and they see, oh, this is something that we can build on. This is something that we may look into as well.
Steve Kerr might be telling Draymond, listen, this is what you're gonna be fronting. We might see Draymond doing in the near future.
Yeah, because everybody doesn't have a cat either. Some of these guys aren't cat-like. They don't have cat's abilities. So to see this work for Cat, some other guys that are less talented at that position that has to guard Jokic, they're like, you know what, coach, we might have to take a look at this as well.
It's
the Lakers did this. The Lakers did this in the playoffs against them, right? They had Bron guarding Jokic, and he was fronting. They had AD on the backside. So, I mean, I said it's not a tactic that is foreign to the game and to teams that are trying to win.
No. By the way, how many players in the league, Jokic is like the top, do we always ask other players, is he unstoppable? How do you stop him? That's the whole, unless I'm just missing something. It's the whole point is to figure something out. And if it works, it works. I don't care what it looks like.
Yeah, but because he's so good at doing everything, that's why it's hard to stop him. Him, Luka, like there's only a few guys that are good to help their teammates as well. It's like, all right, we let him beat you one-on-one. He might do that. He'll get 50 if you need to. All right, we're gonna double. He's gonna pick you apart passing to people too. It's like, all right, we're trying to box him out. He's still gonna find a way to tip that ball in and get 16, 20 rebounds.
Boom. Found a way. Who cares? Clippers, Spurs. This was fun for a minute. Kawhi leading his team, 128-116. He had a season high 27 points.